The question, does coffee lead to sleeplessness? What you need to know about caffeine. Caffeine blocks adenosine. Adenosine is a neurochemical that increases in the body throughout the day. As adenosine builds up, you feel more sleepy and less alert. Caffeine essentially mimics the presence of adenosine in the body, preventing brain cells from recognizing actual adenosine. Caffeine's effects on adenosine in turn appear to trigger effects on other neurochemicals. Guys, say goodnight to insomnia. Kate Nickel Medium. The effects of caffeine aren't felt immediate. It can take from 2,545 minutes for the caffeine boost to kick in. The effects of caffeine last in the body for several hours. It can take from 68 hours for the stimulant effects of caffeine to be reduced by one-half. We don't all respond to caffeine exactly the same way. Some of us are more sensitive to this stimulant than others. These guidelines will work for most people to avoid problems with caffeine disrupting sleep, creating jitters and undermining focus. As far as the timing of caffeine goes, I recommend stopping caffeine consumption at 2 p.m. If you're an afternoon coffee drinker, switch to decaf at 2 o'clock. If you like a post-dinner cup of coffee, consider swapping that out for tea. Why so early in the day? Caffeine has a long half-life, between 6 to 8 hours. That means it can take up to 8 hours for half of the caffeine to be metabolized by your body. A 2 p.m. cutoff time can help ensure you're able to fall asleep by 10:30. Caffeine tolerance. The more caffeine you consume, the less effective it will be in stimulating alertness. That can lead you to consume more caffeine, and make you more vulnerable to negative side effects, including sleeplessness, jitters, and eventually, adrenal fatigue. If you're a several cups a day coffee drinker who can't bear to part with the taste and the ritual of coffee, switch a couple of those cups to decaf. You'll avoid caffeine tolerance and stress on your adrenal glands. Caffeine withdrawal. So, you want to scale back on your caffeine intake? Great. How do you avoid caffeine withdrawal? Dropping caffeine cold turkey can indeed lead to some pretty intense, uncomfortable withdrawal symptoms, including headaches, fatigue, irritability, difficulty concentrating, flu-like symptoms, muscle aches, nausea and vomiting. Here's how to scale back on caffeine the smart way. 1. Track your caffeine intake. Spend 1 week consuming caffeine as you normally do, and keep a very close record of everything you ingest that contains caffeine. 2. Start to reduce caffeine, gradually. The next week, reduce your caffeine intake by about 40 milligrams. That's the rough equivalent of about 12 cups of coffee, or a little more than an ounce of dark chocolate. Target first your late in the day caffeine consumption, such as your late afternoon or after dinner cup of coffee. Be sure to replace that caffeinated drink with something else, like decaf tea. 3. Continue to reduce your daily caffeine consumption by this same 40 milligrams a week, until you've reached your new goal. A couple other tips to help you scale back on caffeine. Don't forget to account for all your sources of caffeine. That includes chocolate and other desserts, coffee, ice cream, drinks, snacks, and medications. Consume your most highly caffeinated drinks early in the day, and gradually shift to lower caffeine and then decaf, as the day progresses. Coffee in the morning, black tea at lunch, and herbal tea at bedtime is a great way to go. Caffeine overdose. Is it possible to have a caffeine overdose? Caffeine overdoses are rare, but they can happen. According to scientific estimates, the amount of caffeine needed to trigger an overdose is 510 grams, or 5,00010,000 mg. There have been a small number of deaths involving caffeine in recent years, mostly among younger people. Caffeine also helps with mental performance. It's been shown to improve memory and reaction time, and increase cognitive flexibility, our ability to switch thinking among topics.